What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? I know it's been a long time since you guys have seen me. I think it's like to the point to where I low-key forgot my intro or what I used to say in the beginning. So I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna freelance that bad boy. Um, what the? How I used to start that bad boy, y'all? Oh, what's going on, y'all? My name is Reckless Logic. Please make sure you guys pop that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please smack the notification bell. So do not want to. What the hell did you say that? You do not want to miss any more videos from me. Let's get straight into this video. Oh, alrighty. So, hello guys, welcome back. I have a special guest today. Very special guest. So I'm just gonna bring him up. He's a late trap, ugly pussy bitch but I love him so dearly. Power bottom. Come on, Conscious TV. Woohoo!
Oh, I thought that you were memorializing your mother with that intro.
Oh no, bitch, no.
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
First of all, I'm gonna need you to do some graphic work for me, and I'm definitely going to need you to do a old nasty introduction for me because I need a new intro video, one that's a little bit more like Ratchet and Gutter and City Girls and 305-ish.
Period, bitch.
Yes, all that because I love it.
Alright, so even though this is gonna be like a video or whatever, but I kind of just like, want to have like a regular conversation like we normally do, bitch. Period. Alrighty, so I guess the best way, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't done this in a while, so we're gonna be freelancing the fuck out of this. Alright, so today we will be talking about Lil Boosie and Lil Nas X. What else is new? And we will be talking about Mrs. Mayweather. My bad, Mr. Mayweather. So you want to start with Boosie? Or you want to start with Mayweather? You let me have it.
Either way is cool. Hey, Ayo, what's going on, love?
Hey.
Either one, child. Either one.
Either one.
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna start with Boosie because that's the one I came prepared for. I came for that bitch. All right, so I have a question. So, what's the nickname you gave Lil Boosie? Lil Boosie Bad Bottom, something like that.
Boosie Bad Bottom. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Lil Boosie is a very hood, late trap. Let me stop doing that. He is a rapper, and for some reason, he always seems to have gay shit in his mouth. And I don't mean that only literally. And so he always seems to always be trolling Lil Nas X. And so Lil Nas X decided to troll back and basically said that, yo, we're gonna do a vid, like, we're doing a song together. So Lil Boosie decided that he was gonna go on a whole homophobic rant. And this is what Lil Boosie had to say. Now, hopefully, I put the right one up because, girl, it's been a while. It's been a while. Mm-hmm. All righty. He says, stop trolling me. I'm going to let y'all fill that in. Lol. You a hoe playing with a gangster. Shaking my head. You can keep sucking and getting in your girl peace and you hate yourself. I would too if I was you. Lol. By the way, lol over here means LOL, guys. Okay, Nas X. If you hashtag commit, because I don't know how strict YouTube is, y'all fill in the blank, you will do this world a huge favor. Nobody wants you here. And so Lil Nas X decided to respond. He's just a troll. So Lil Nas X was like, I am truly saddened. I've never been so mortified in my life. I can't believe Disney Channel has yet to play Halloween Town this entire October. And so I guess Lil Boosie ain't get the response that he wanted. This bitch talk about some. Wait, I gotta keep it professional. This pussy ass. Sorry. Boosie was like, stop playing with the straight. I'm gonna let y'all fill in the blank. LOL. He talk about, think about it. Nobody wants you here. So they had to their little blowout or whatever. And then Lil Nas X's father decides to step into the chat. Not literally. He was like, how you a whole gangster rapper promoting drugs, violence, degrading women, and getting high every video talking about you're for the kids. Man, sit your old man looking ass down. The game has passed you. We real bankhead over here. Not like you. Okay, now there was the rest of the stuff. Girl. And so, last little picture. He decides to say, don't get mad at me because your son came out like that. Lol. I know it hurts. What are your thoughts? What are your motherfucking thoughts?
First of all, Little Boosie at bottom looks like a battered squirrel in the damn face. Hey, peace, love. What's going on, sis? I think that dad came through was really amazing for him to have his sons back like this. And he touched on the same points that we all have been like, stand for the kids who wear, little Boosie. Like, everything about you is toxic, violent, problematic, misogynistic, irrational, uneducated. Like, your energy is very EBP like energy. Like, girl, you have very dusty energy. You have very clearance rack energy. Like, there's nothing about you that's for the kids except the ones that you leave on them hoes' faces after they get done orally molesting your underage sons.
Come on, read
Okay?
her, read her.
So I'm just, girl, you got what you asked for. Now, if it was fair game for Lil Boosie to troll Lil Nas X since he's been on the scene, it was certainly fair game for Lil Nas X to troll him in return. This is what harassment looks like, Lil Boosie. But I'm willing to say this is sexual harassment, okay? Because we know that Little Boosie missed writing penitentiary dick in the big pen.
Oh my God.
And that was the only space in which he could ever really truly be himself. So he's just struggling to jump on a free dick, on employed dick, on non-locked up dick. And I just want somebody to tell Lil Boosie that it's okay to put that dick down his throat at his house, just like he did in the big house. It's okay.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Let me just get somebody to tell Boosie.
Yeah.
That you're free, girl. You're free to jump on the dick.
Come on, Kaya. Yes, ma'am.
It's okay. It's okay to get that masculine pussy stretched open.
Yes, girl. Well, you know, I came prepared for Lil Boosie. Well, actually, I'm gonna treat him with respect, even though he don't do us like that. With Boosie. All right, so let's go through like his background. First things first, sir. You're coming from prison. You are, I'm assuming, an ex-con, allegedly. I don't know if that's true or not, but if you're coming from prison, I'm assuming that's like, you know, verifies that. And the whole thing about, to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, didn't you beat a murder case allegedly? Like, a lot of times when I hear people uplift Boosie and talk about why he's the GOAT, he's this and he's that, you know, yeah, you talk about money, yeah, you talk about his music, but also I always hear this whole thing of talking about he beat a murder case. So I don't know how true that is, but we're gonna take that into context. Then you decide to come at Zaya Wade, a child, the same children you talk about you want to protect, coming at a child, harassing the child. Then you want to come at Lil Nas X. Then you want to side with Flame Monroe. Keep in mind, Flame Monroe, which I don't understand why your friend was taking up for, but Flame Monroe as one of the most Candace Owens type of figure to the gay community, want to be completely honest. And then Big Frito had the nerve to sit up here and take up for you.
Okay, by saying what? Because I didn't hear Big Frita's comment.
Okay, so Big Frita had the nerve. So TMZ asked her, stopped her, and was like, "Oh, you know, how do you feel about the Lil Nas X and the Boosie, you know, feud or whatever?" And one part I did agree. They troll each other, you know, yada yada yada. But here's the thing that it just kind of like, you know, put my head and it's kind of put it up my ass a little bit because I was confused. I was like an ostrich at the time because it was like she had the nerve to come out her mouth talking about some, oh, you know, when people get mad, they say anything, and you know, basically making the point that she doesn't think he's homophobic. And so I was like, I just know this bitch did not just had the nerve to say you don't think he's homophobic when he went on a whole rant talking about someone committing suicide. Went on a whole rant talking about nobody wants you here. Went on a whole rant to the father talking about some
your son turned out like that.
Yeah,
you just mad.
Yeah. Like I just couldn't. I was like
saying that queer people shouldn't be exposed to children.
Yeah, all of that. When bitch, Children should be exposed to your ass. You the motherfucking predator. Allegedly, because I'm not gonna get clipped. But like, the reason why I keep bringing up his background is because you don't have no right to try to sit on your soapbox and try to judge somebody and tell somebody else about their life. Because honestly, yes, you may have money. Yes, you may have the little accolades or whatever you have. I don't know your little history, but however, let's go down your track record to see it's a lot of inconsistencies when it comes down to you, what you preach and what you do. One, you say you're not homophobic, and keep in mind, you say you're not homophobic because you talk to Flame, somebody that's like a Candace owner of the community. You say you're not
homophobic. He claims he's also not homophobic because he has a gay manager or assistant.
Exactly. So I was like, and I want to get into the manager, but I'm gonna wait to see what the manager say after this. But at the same time, people don't want to mess up their coin
because he's minding the check that pays him.
Exactly. I was about to say, because people don't want to mess up their coin. I get it, but at the same time, it's some type of conversation. Not saying that he's not having that type of conversation, but something needs to be said, as in like, homeboy, what you doing? Like, why would you say all that? And they have the nerve to say you're not homophobic, girl. And then you talk about the children. These bitches and these fucking ugly ass kids. It be killing when people talk about the kids because they only talk about the kids when it's down to us. When it comes to queer people, they love talking about the kids. When it comes down to thugs or the black community, or more like melanated people, and it comes down to thug culture, rap, and all that, the kids are off limits. Like the kids, they're able to run free. They're like, okay, they can listen to that. They can do that. They can do this. But let some gay shit happen, bitch. All of a sudden, oh, no. The kids, the children. All that propaganda agenda shit they love to pull out.
We already know that the kids thing is just a decoy at this point.
It's a deflector.
And to Ayo's point when he said, but it seems like when people from the minority communities rise up and get into mainstream spaces, the willingness it affects them. And that's what I was going to say about Big Fredo, is that his big heavy throat ass hold on. Does Big Frida identify as is Big Frida trans or just a fabulous big boy?
I believe that Big Frida did a video on it like some time ago. I forgot. Don't quote me on this, but I believe when I was looking at the video, I believe Big Frida said that I'm gonna say she said that she doesn't care about her pronouns. She is just her. Yeah, she's one of them.
So the Big Frida is just Big Frida. Masculine and feminine forces are like he, she, Mrs., Mister. Don't give a damn. It's all Big Frida. It's all in her pussy. Okay, got it. So and that's the thing. Like, if all of this heat and smoke would have been directed toward her lace back, she would have been up in arms, dragging Lil Boosie from here to fucking Alaska. So it's funny to me how she can say on behalf of Lil Nas X that Lil Boosie is not homophobic. I think Lil Nas X would be the only one who can determine if what he's experiencing from Lil Boosie is homophobic. And like you said, girl, with every single thing that Lil Boosie all his talking points for the past year or two, so what do you need for it to be homophobic? Do you need one of us to end up in the pool of our own blood for you to finally say, oh, that's homophobic? I mean, so if all this is not homophobic and transphobic, what exactly, I'm just curious, what exactly then does make someone homophobic?
That's the question.
I'm just curious.
I feel like this. And we already had this conversation before, is that people always want to acknowledge the aggressive, in your face, homophobic rhetoric and behavior. But people never really want to acknowledge, excuse me, my tongue is dry, acknowledge or turn a blind eye, or have a blind eye to the passive aggressive behavior and rhetoric that comes along with people's and their ideologies and pathologies. Like, it really be killing me. You don't have to say I keep forgetting I'm on Beagle, I'm on YouTube. You don't have to say the F word to be anti-queer, anti-whatever.
Yes.
Whatever. Like you don't have to say
it. Could be in your politics.
Exactly.
It could be in your worldview. It could be in your idea, like in your ideology.
Ideology.
It don't have to be when somebody uses a slur, or when somebody knocks you upside the back of your head, or when somebody shanks you. It's literally wrapped up in all those other forms as well. That's why we're able to call the black church homophobic, because it's wrapped up in their ideology. That's why we're also to a certain extent, like, acknowledge the homophobia within the black experience, because it is largely wrapped up in the respectability politics. So homophobia and transphobia comes through many different vehicles. Like, it's like reducing racism to just when somebody calls you the N-word. That's not the only form of racism. Just like a man openly groping a woman without her permission is not the only form of sexism. It's in the discrimination of the wages, the wage disparity between men and women in this country. It's in the way that we will highlight the accolades of men in comparison to the way that we acknowledge the successes and accolades and leadership of women. It's like patriarchy and sexism wrapped up in all of those things. Like, and we use religion to reinforce it. We use social norms to reinforce these things. Like, if we look at the way that we perceive things and a lot of our social rules, like, all of this crap is wrapped up in that. It then becomes violence. It then becomes murder. It then becomes all of the other things. But all of this stuff starts as ideologies.
You come on. Come on. Because okay, so here's the thing with this. It, like, see, the best way I can put this more politically correct. I'm trying to not be ghetto and act like this bigo. But okay, I don't understand how people can still sit up here, and this also goes into the comments, the reason why I put it up. It goes back to when need more black queer people in power and position in the industry so black queer people don't have to tiptoe around how they actually feel. Now, the reason why I put that up there is because I'm going to tweak it a little bit. The right black queer people.
Yeah.
Because that's what
Lord knows we got a big Frito ain't no damn help.
Lay's chips. We got Big Frito. We got Flame Monroe. I'm about to call out your friend Wiley. Like, girl.
Oh my goodness! Don't do what.
But you know, like, and you know, I wasn't able to really get to him because I didn't have my mic. But bitch, like, no, like, it's a lot of, just because you're part of the community don't mean you are.
You have the best interest of the community at heart.
Exactly. Thank you. Because I need some water, bitch. Because, girl, my mouth is dry. But I really do. I still want to go down, like, you know, a few of his inconsistencies. He has the nerve to sit up here and talk about children and all the things, but yet you want to talk about the media, but yet you go on IG Live to tell a woman to pull her cootie cat out for $1,000. You want to sit up here and talk about the children, but yet you want to talk about how women should do obviously sexually explicit things on live. Okay, got you. Cool. Then you want to talk about the music shows, the VH1, BETs, and VMAs, all the different types of things. Talk about the children. The children, he shouldn't be doing that. But yet, your mouth was zipped shut when the baby was on the, like, when he was on the show showing explicit sexuality and sexual expression. Oh, I love it. I'm gonna be a little messy tonight. But like, it really was really getting me, because I'm like, you're gonna sit up here and try to make it make sense. But bitch, it doesn't make sense, bitch. 2 + 2 doesn't equal 5. It doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna take that down, because girl.
Well, to your earlier point, I think that you are correct that we need to remember that it's gonna that all kinfolk and kinfolk. So it's not just about putting black people in power or just about putting queer people in power. It's about putting the right black and brown and the right queer people into power, because we have black and brown people in positions of power who are more hurtful to the movement, like Condoleezza Rice, who out there talking about we should be careful not to hurt white young male kids' feelings with the racist theory or the race theory, and we have people like Candace Bootlicking Owens, who is more of a detriment. So we know that it's not just about being black, because we have a lot of tap dancers and the bootlickers, and we have a lot of self-hating, anti-queer, anti-black people, and a lot of anti-queer queer people in the world. So yeah, we have to make sure that we add that right, put the right person with the right politics in these positions of power, because just putting queer people there is not necessarily going to push the movement forward, and just putting black and brown folk in positions of power ain't necessarily going, just like we have so our vice president, who ain't doing a goddamn thing. This mother loving administration is doing everything for everybody but y'all black and brown asses, and they was the ones who told you that you ain't even black if you don't vote for them. And we done seen the Asian anti-hate bill be passed. Now Biden is talking about giving what, $450,000 to compensate illegal immigrants and shit, and it's just like, y'all out here saving and caping for everybody but black and brown people who got 400, 500 plus years of unresolved reparations that need to be a high priority.
Yeah.
In the land. So yeah.
Okay, so the last.
Hey, what's going on, Doris? Wiley now to Wiley sometimes Wiley just be trolling, because he loves to trigger up cancel culture. So I don't be paying Wiley ass no attention.
Well, I was thinking that, like, during the live and stuff, and that's why I ain't really say nothing. But I kind of went and watched some of his clips, his videos, and I can tell it's not all trolling. Even when I told you the certain the other conversation we had, it's not all trolling. I can tell you that much, and I'm pretty sure you know that as well. But we're gonna need to let that be. But okay, so Lil Boosie. Last inconsistency that really irks my nerve is your music. You sit up here and you talk about the children, but yet your music is not good for the children as well. It really irks me when people love to talk about the kids, or talk about or try to weaponize something to make it a big issue. But the thing is that you're only saying something about it now because now it's somebody else. Because when it was you didn't say nothing about it. So it be killing me. Like it's like this. And it's like, now I'm gonna need y'all to follow me. Different situation, same concept. Just follow me, bitch. It's kind of like when you start talking about, the hotel people, Lord Jesus, they start talking about this gay stuff, the gay agenda, and they talk about everything gay. But then if there's no gay people there, then they talk about the women. But then if the women aren't there, they're completely quiet. Most of them. So, Boosie, when it comes down to gay people, you talk about it. When it comes down to what women should do, like a Kevin Samuels, anything like that, then people want to talk about it. But yet, when it comes down to you talking about your own actions and taking accountability, everybody quiet. That's like really irritating to me. I've been on YouTube in so long, so I'll be trying not to cuss. But girl,
why you don't? Well, are you trying to monetize? Is that why you don't curse?
Yep, I'm trying to monetize. Oh. Right. I'm trying to turn over a new.
Well, Larry Reed is teaching me how to use fake cuss words for monetization purposes. So just create fake ones like mother lover or
mother lover. It don't feel the same.
Well,
pitch. That word, pitch. Well, but then again, that's a little bit too close.
If you say it with the same energy, it'll feel the same to you. You just gotta put
pitch. I'll work on it. I'll work on
Yeah,
it. God know my heart. God,
Practice makes
God.
perfect.
Yeah, practice makes perfect, girl. Because I ain't gonna be.
Somebody said, "How do y'all feel about Jay-Z and Beyonce in their position in the movement?" I feel like they're in a rock. Clarify that a little bit more, Ayo. Like, what do you mean their position as it relates to what movement?
I guess being in like I'm assuming the I don't know. At first I was thinking like
clarification.
I was thinking like the Black Lives Matter, like the being pro black at
Well,
the same time having gay fans. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's why I'm asking for a clarification because that can mean
I
anything.
thought about it.
Yeah, that can mean anything. So just clarify for us. He also has another question that says, Lil Boosie is just like some of these other heterosexual black men that point things at everybody else in the black community except themselves.
Let's have a conversation about that. Come on, let's go.
Breaking the culture of
silence. Yes, ma'am. Come on.
Lil Boosie is like some of the black heterosexual men I think is pointing at everybody else in the black community except themselves. Yeah.
Come on now. Let's talk about it. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts?
Well, you already know, like, my thoughts are literally the comment under this comment. Heterosexual black men lack accountability because of patriarchy. I literally just, on that 8-hour live, was it an 8-hour live? It was one of them lives where, I think it was the one where Information Man was up there and we was talking about something, and I literally went in on how black men have dropped the ball in the black community, and they do not want to acknowledge the ball dropping. So I understand the deflecting. It's really annoying and it's really crazy. And black men, I don't know what it's going to take for them to acknowledge the brand of masculinity that they've brought into the abuse that women and black LGBT people are experiencing under their version of society, their version of community. I also know that black men are the same product of the sunken place, just like anybody else. So I know that at some point too, we have to have forgiveness for all parties because everybody got messed up in the pale supremacist wash and dryer. And but that healing has to also start with confession. It has to start with acknowledging. And I think that some people, particularly black men, feel like to acknowledge what has been done on their watch is to take blame and then also be unredeemed. And
come on,
I need black men to understand that your community loved you enough to forgive you. Because, like I just said, we all have been a product of the same buffoonery. But we're never going to move forward if accountability doesn't start where it needs to, which is the head. And black men are going to have to. The only way for black men to restore their integrity and their leadership and to regain control of the steering wheel in the community is by doing what true kings and true leaders do, which is acknowledge what happened under your rulership and then proceed with clarity and intelligence based upon those failures and those mistakes. And I think that we can begin to start to work towards some solidarity. But like you said, like everybody saying in the chat, there is finger pointing, and rightfully so. There are things to blame here, but yeah, but we're just not going to be able to resolve anything if somebody who the finger is pointing at isn't willing to be honest about the fact that, yep, you're right. You're right. We did it. I did it.
Well, I was gonna say like, let me just just hop off, just come in right behind you. Real short and sweet. You said it. The thing is that I feel like a lot of times, I'm not gonna say black men. I'm just gonna say in general, a lot of melanated people, they really don't want to dismantle white supremacy. They just want the luxuries and the benefits of white supremacy, but yet control, alt, delete, and edit it to their liking. And that's the problem. You can't sit up here and say you want to dismantle something, a system that's used to oppress you and all the people that look like you, but then yet use a different system with the same formula to oppress other people. That doesn't make any sense to me. Okay, so he clarified. He says, with Jay-Z and Beyonce, they do a lot of things that promote blackness, but then they are pure capitalists, which negatively affects black people.
Well, here is the thing. There's nobody in America with any level of business that is not participating in capitalism, because capitalism is the only system that we're all making any money, revenue from and with. And it's debatable whether capitalism can be workable, which I think that any system can be workable if you apply the necessary morals and ethics to it. But I think when you just let the system be a system without compassion, without empathy, and you leave those virtues out of these systems, then we get into some degrading things. And so, unfortunately, every system in America is happening under capitalism, not just music and hip hop and celebrity, but the black church, the church in general, is happening under capitalism as well. This is why your prophets are selling prophecies. This is why your pastors are passing around a collection plate. This system requires money. Money provides resources, and nobody has come up with another system where nobody has come up with a better system yet. So capitalism is where it's been at. But with Jay-Z and Beyonce, I feel like they're doing the best under the circumstances. Like, they do a lot of nonprofit. Also, when a lot of things happen, especially injustices, they are not the kind of people who parade their
contributions.
Yeah, and their contributions around on their shoulder, but we know, we can see, and those contributions are still highlighted by those who are being contributed to. And so I like what they're doing. I like that they are very melanated focused and fixated, and that they produce business that allows other black and brown people to produce business, and that they put black beauty and black culture on Front Street. And I think they have a good thing going. Can more be done? Yes. And Beyonce, as it relates to the LGBT community, Beyonce is very interesting when it comes to that gay shit, because she hasn't explicitly. I think Beyonce tries to just do the work rather than making the proclamation, because I think she knows that we live in a society where people will lock you in based upon a vocal premise that you stand on. I think she would rather just accept gay people than saying,
I accept them.
Yeah, than saying I accept gay people. I think she would rather accept all shades and shapes of black women, including big women, and support black women's self-esteem by just doing so, rather than saying black and fat is beautiful. She'd rather just have big girls as dancers. She'd rather just represent it and allow her actions to be what defines her legacy, and not necessarily because as we can see, we have enough people talking a good talk and not walking that damn walk. And then on the other end, we have somebody like Beyonce and Jay-Z who are walking it, but not necessarily talking it. And I think I would much rather prefer a walker. If I had to choose, I'd much rather just have a walker.
But to this comment, it says the only reason I say that is because when you look at the white divas have excessively shown how they love and admire their LGBT fans. Okay, what my rebuttal to that is that even though we don't see a lot of clips, there are times where Beyonce has gone to drag shows, or there have been times where I'm gonna take that back, not drag shows, but there have been times that the impersonator, she was like really giving props to the impersonator that impersonates her and stuff. And plus, I'm pretty sure there are some videos of her, giving respect to her LGBT fans.
Given respect, she has queer backup dancers and choreographers.
That too.
She has queer makeup artists and hairdressers. She wears queer designers and labels, and she literally hires them for the sake of representation. One of the things we got to remember about why Gaga and a lot of and Madonna we're talking about privileged women.
Yep, I was gonna say
who don't necessarily get suckered into toxic patriarchal crap by supporting their queer fans, even though they have taken a fair share of heat, but ultimately like that privilege benefits them, while Beyonce knows that it just become a thing to say anything as a Black woman to the Black community. So once again, she'd rather just open her doors to everybody and reinforce her acceptance by allowing everybody into the house without ever having to put a sign out front saying this is a safe space for queer people, this is a safe space for bit Black women, or this is a safe space for like, she'd rather just open the door. And I get the politics, she's trying to juggle between having a career that she can use for the sake of the overall Black community, while also trying to avoid a lot of the pitfalls that come from vocal and verbal activism and vocal and verbal allyship. And the same thing with Dave Chappelle. Like, this man is trying to throw digs at white supremacy while also getting a check from white supremacy that can be converted into business that can benefit Black and brown people. Because we got to realize we are being held captive in America by this pale supremacist system. That means that most minority people and Black and brown people, if they're intelligent enough, are finding intelligent ways to work the system to their benefit and to their community's benefit, while also addressing the elephants in the room, but not being so explicit about it sometimes, because when you can possibly be penalized and canceled, and now you're not in a position to do a damn thing. And the same overarching power is over you, sucking your people dry. So I think a lot of Black and brown people under this white patriarchal capitalistic system are attempting to be as clever as they can. Because you have to be a bit of a goddamn ninja. You just do. What do you think about that?
I agree. Actually, it's funny because I was explaining to the whole thing. Well, we'll talk about that later. I'm not gonna do that right now. Okay, so, but I will say I do agree with everything. When it comes down to Beyonce saying that, she supports, she rides for her LGBT fans. Like, there has been clips I've seen of her, really giving props to her LGBT fans. Because at the end of the day, I don't care what artist says that they understand that is a dollar that is essential. The same way the Black dollar is essential, the gay dollar, whether they Black, white, or whatever, they're essential at the end of the day. So especially if you're which is another reason. I just thought about it. Which is another reason why, bring it back to Boosie fuck ass. Oh, I gotta stop cussing. But to bring it back, whether you like it or not, you're going to have supporters that are going to be of different walks of life, which I don't understand, which kind of pisses me off because it's so damn ignorant. You can't just show people respect no matter what your personal views, ideologies, pathologies are. Like, I don't understand why is it so difficult. Well, then again, I do understand because you're privileged as hell, but I feel, let's see the best way to put this. What do you think? What do you think is going to be the end game for Boosie? That's my question to you.
Who?
For Boosie. You think he just go?
Does not have no damn end game. Lil Boosie is riding a ticket of relevancy, honey. Like,
Ooh.
Lil Boosie would not be preaching and standing 10 toes down in his rhetoric if he was not getting noticeable support and backing behind it. Lil Boosie would be willing to ride any train if it made him relevant. And this just happens to be the rhetoric that's allowing him to stay in the algorithms, that's allowing him to stay in breaking news, that's allowing him to stay in the mouths of as many people. And like a black capitalist, he's utilizing that to his advantage by producing felt movies and felt semi-autobiographical films and everything else. Like, Lil Boosie, honestly, I would even say this. I highly doubt that Lil Boosie is even this homophobic. I think that he literally is just doing what he has to do to be relevant. I think he is genuinely homophobic, but I think that he's making it kind of his mantra because he's being rewarded with popularity. He's being rewarded with sensationalism. And so, like anything else, like any other content creator, like any other entertainer, you find a groove and it works, you stay in that lane and you milk it. You milk it because you're benefiting from that groove. So he's found a groove and he's accidentally stumbled upon a rhetoric that black people can appreciate right now in an era where they're scared of black trans people. They're scared of black queer people and their power and their visibility. And they're scared that homosexuality and gender identity will become contagious and come out of the radios and come out of the TV screens and have every man in a freakum dress and have every woman with a low fade. And so they're appreciating having a leader to kick back or to act like they're kicking back against the system while doing nothing to really do that. Because if Little Boosie was really serious about his concerns, he would be talking to politicians. He would be attempting to get proper legislation put in place to protect his kind. Ironically, he's doing actually nothing about the real concerns that the people who are backing him have, and he's just using it to be famous himself.
It's selfish. But I just thought about something because you reminded me of two things. First thing is that I could be wrong. So allegedly, throw that out there. But I'm pretty sure, but allegedly, wasn't Boosie one of the main people trying to protect Bill Cosby? I could have sworn I seen a video on that.
Who said to let that man free.
And that goes into the point that you just said, which is my next point. It irks my nerve. I'm trying to be professional. I'm not trying to bring Bingo over here to YouTube. But it irks my nerve how us as melanated people are so dang ignorant to the point you're going to have a man that sits up here that promotes an alleged, because I don't know if he did it or not, an alleged sex offender or sexual predator, Bill Cosby, and then sit up here, have your child sexually assaulted, then sit up here, talk about the media, but yet you're producing music and television programs that poison the minds of other children and then have the nerve to put him on the soapbox to talk about gay people.
No, it's not surprising to me because that just speaks to the patriarchy. Because it's a man being violent, because it's a black man being abrasive, because it's black boys who were sexually assaulted. Oh, that's not even really sexually assault. That's like, those are badge of honor. It's like
Brotherhood.
boys are rewarded in the
Right.
system for their sexual conquest. So of course, you know, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And guess what? You can't even address Lil Boosie without realizing that Lil Boosie is speaking for
a
a
lot of them.
large section of the black community as well, who
That
did
is
not
so
see
true.
necessarily anything wrong with what Bill Cosby did.
And that is the most triggering part about it. You will pacify molestation, you will pacify sexual assault, even if the sexual assault and molestation is against the very same people we're always told to protect, which are black women, but yet you will sit up here and support, engage with, and endorse somebody that promotes all those things that you. It's so hypocritical. And let me just give my last few thoughts on Boosie because we're gonna move on to Mr. Mayweather. My bad, Mr. Mayweather. The thing with Boosie, I I really dislike him, but at the same time, it's like it's a soft spot a little bit because I feel like this. I feel like since he went to prison, and maybe just me just trying to be empathetic, but since he went to prison, I felt like that's why he's stuck in that mental time capsule where he is right now. That's why I feel like he still thinks the way that he does. That's why I feel like he still acts the way that he does. From what I see, is because you went to prison at a young age. You came out, you was much older. Now you're trying to gain all that time back. But however, you're doing all of that in the expense of other people's lives and the dangerous rhetoric that you decide to spit out. You have any final thoughts on Boosie before we move on to Miss
No,
Mayweather?
it's a broken record. At the end of the day, I'm gonna let the black community who wants Lil Boosie to have him. He's y'all's. Like, he's theirs. You cannot talk these people out of this. These people are not in it for truth. They're not in it for justice. These are people who want to reinforce oppressive ideologies because they just believe that that's the way the world should be, and they believe that black LGBT people should stay in their fucking place, which is in the shadows and nooks and crevices, or just not exist at all. And it ain't enough that can be said to change any of these motherfuckers' minds. So if they want Lil Boosie, they can, hey, have him. Lil Nas X still exists alongside Lil Boosie, so that's all I care about.
And if you want to be quite honest, Lil Nas X, he gives VH1, VMAs, MTV. He gives that. Boosie gives barbecue. He gives cookout. And by the way, I'm not talking about the good barbecues and the good
Lil
cookouts.
Boosie gives commissary. Lil Boosie gives paperback cafeteria lunch.
He gives glory hole. He gives face down. Let me stop. Let me not do that. Let me stop.
The cell block fee. He gives The Yard, The Wire, Shawshank Redemption. He gives all of that.
All right. So since you're more knowledgeable in the Mayweather situation, so I'm gonna have you.
That much.
Well, you know more than me. You're the one that informed me about it.
Nah, so okay. Long story short, Floyd Mayweather was there was a white male fan who was attempting to get a picture taken with Mr. Floyd, and you can hear in the footage Mr. Floyd calling out this male patron's fingernails, which were painted at the time, and saying, "Oh no, hell no, I'm not taking no picture with, basically, somebody who got their nails painted." So that footage became viral, and Conversations are being had, huh?
I was gonna tell you I actually have it.
Okay, yeah,
I don't
play it
know.
for us.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't know how
No,
to
you
set
had me explain it, and you had the damn footage here.
period. I had to pull it up while you was
Oh
talking.
my
Period.
goodness.
It's called yeah. All right, so here we go.
You got painted nails. You can't. I'm not gonna take no picture of a guy with no painted nails. Back up. Hey.
Damn, bro. Floyd's a You guys saw that first, bro. Floyd doesn't want to take a photo of me because my nails are painted. Bro, really?
Girl, what are your thoughts?
I want to take that comment down.
Sorry, my mom.
So there you have it. There you have it. Now, there are people, of course, heterosexual people saying that Floyd is not homophobic. How can he be homophobic? He's best friends with Jason Lee, just like Lil Boosie, right? Was able to be decent toward Flamin' Row and have a gay assistant, tour manager, whatever he is. But this just goes to my point that there's something called a token gay, just like there's something called a token black person. And I always tell that just because you have gay friends, it doesn't make you necessarily pro LGBTQ, because we know that people make exceptions to rules all the time based upon proximity. Like, if you have a gay brother, more than likely, yes, you probably love your gay brother. That doesn't mean that your politics revolve around equality for LGBT people. You might have a black best friend. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are absolved of privileged, ignorant, and or racist ideology, while also having space to befriend black people or gay people. You got to remember, even slave masters had fucking black overseers. So they had house niggas. They had black cooks. That didn't mean that those slave owners loved black people, because they had black people raising their damn kids and had black people in and out their goddamn house cleaning their shit and wiping their ass and cleaning their toilets. So this is a prime example that that you can have gay friends and still be anti-queer. And I would even say this might, because I thought about this might not even have been a issue of sexuality, because we also have to remember that black men have a problem with two things. Have a problem with queerness, and they also have a certain disdain for other variations of masculinity.
I was about to say that.
So it's possible that Floyd Mayweather may have not necessarily been homophobic, but because he didn't deem this young man as masculine because his fingernails were painted, irregardless of what his sexual orientation was, makes Floyd Mayweather a toxic masculine ass nigga, which is not surprising. I mean, he's Floyd Mayweather, but yeah, it's interesting.
The thing I find very interesting is how, which is the reason why I put this up. He's protecting his image. What did he think? It's very funny to me that you not taking a picture with somebody because their fingernails are painted, which leads us to believe that you're protecting your image. But my thing is, if you were protecting your image, you would actually learn how to read. It's inconsistencies. If you want to protect your image, you've been learning how to read. If you want to protect your image, you wouldn't be going out here acting ignorant, especially knowing and here's the thing, you're not somebody who's just got into the game. You've been in the industry for a long time. This is not something new to you. This is not something that it just came into your lap. Because even if it did just come into your lap, you've been in the game for a while now. So, okay, question, because you already kind of like walked into it. How do you feel about the whole concept of alpha and beta males?
The same way I feel about everything else. I think that we keep trying our best to create some objective to what is male or masculinity and what is femininity. And the truth is, both of these things exist on a fucking spectrum. And the truth is that all people are both, really, because all people are birthed out of masculine and feminine energies. This is why you have a father and a mother. You were born in the likeness of both masculinity, your father, your male sperm donor, and femininity, the womb that nurtured and watered that seed. You are literally a product of both of these forces. So us living in the West with these strong binaries, and there's male and there's female, and us trying to be so point specific about that is really what's creating a lot of ignorances around the way that we define and the way that we perceive masculinity and femininity. So I just think that it's funny that Floyd, and this is what's hilarious about toxic masculinity, it's just how fragile it is. It's so fragile that crying makes you gay. It's so fragile that you can't even show general affection toward another man without having to say no homo and secure and reinforce your masculinity and your orientation. This is how deeply insecure and fragile toxic masculinity is, that you can't even take a picture with a fan because of your fear of being deemed as something that you're not. And it really just goes to show how useless toxic like if your masculinity has to be that safeguarded, baby, it's simply because it's not real to begin with. You are living with some counterfeit masculinity. You're living with some Family Dollar branded masculinity. You know that you can't put this masculinity in the washer because it'll shrink up. You know that you can't get this masculinity dirty because it's a one wear tear and done type of masculinity. And you would think that black men would have just stopped wearing the garbs of this very cheap version of masculinity, but they continue to hold on for dear damn life. So hilarious. But what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, because I find it very fascinating, how you like what this goes back to my other point. We sit up here, we say we want to dismantle systems of oppression, but yet we use the tactics of the same systems that we're trying to dismantle. We sit up here and say that, oh, you know, we need to get rid of racism. It's oppressive. It's this, it's that. And then sit up here and try to talk about alpha and beta males. All you're trying to do is create a hierarchy, the exact same hierarchy that white Caucasian people then did for melanated people. Even though this hierarchy doesn't really exist, but however, in a social class, in the way that they try to modern everyday life and what melanated people can have access to, since they quote unquote try to be the gatekeepers, you can't sit up here and say that you want to get rid of this system that's oppressing you, but yet use the tactics to try to do it to somebody else. And that's one of the reasons why God won't allow a lot of black people to be able to get out of racism and stuff like that, because you're not doing right by other people. Because guess what? You have the intersectionality exists. You have black queer people that exist, black trans people that exist, black women that exist. So why are we already on this conversation? So let's talk, because this is another thing I kept hearing throughout the last panel. what is your idea on this whole thing? Talk about being black first, because I'm sorry, I don't put my blackness
You
before
know that
anything.
we had a whole damn panel about this.
Because, like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna lie, I had to keep muting myself because I was cussing up a storm. I was cussing up a storm.
So, what are your thoughts? Since you didn't get a
sorry.
chance to really talk through that at the time.
Oh, bitch, I wanted to get all the answers. It's this. I'm sorry. At first, I used to be like, my black first, my black first. I used to have the ideology. But now, after I sat back and I thought about it, I said, all of my intersections exist. I'm not putting one above or below the other. Because guess what? When something happened with men, I'm going to be affected. When something happened with black people, I'm trying to get out of the habit of saying that. Melanated people, I'm going to be affected. When something happened to queer people, I'm going to be affected. And the thing is, I find very funny is that when it comes down to queer people, trans people, they love to try to use that argument, talk about you're black first, but yet that same argument never seems to come up when black women have to make certain decisions. Last time I checked, people don't ever really question, to my knowledge, ever put you in a position where you have to choose either your blackness or your womanhood. Because they go side by side. You're a black woman. And the thing that really irks my nerve is that when it comes down to when black women are, a part of the community and stuff, yes, they're black, they're black first, the black community, you're going to deal with the racial injustice, the social justice issues, all of those things. But however, they're like, okay, we can do all that. But however, us as women, black women, we have some issues that has to deal with our womanhood. Can we address those? Okay, we got you. Even if they do treat black women like hit, because I'm trying to cuss. But the whole thing about it, we try to address those things. Yet when it comes down to black men, exact same thing. All the social justice issues, all these things. When something happens with men, which barely happens because men are because of patriarchy. Okay, we're going to address those things. They're trying to take the masculinity away from the black man, trying to take the black man out the household. We'll address those. But yet, let the exact same thing happen with queer people as a gay agenda. So you mean to tell me you could talk? We could talk about the issues when it comes down to children. We could talk about the issues when it comes down to black women. We could talk about the issues that happens with black men. But yet, when we start talking about queer people, then all of a sudden it's a gay agenda. Okay, for me, I have no problem with people saying a gay agenda, me personally. But the thing is, don't use that trigger word and say gay agenda when apparently, if you want to go by that lot, there's a lot of agendas that goes on. Agenda when it comes down to black men, agenda when it comes down to black women, and agenda when it comes down to black children. I don't know. It irks my nerve a lot because maybe for me, it's so easy. Just respect people. Just freaking respect people. But at the same time, I understand why we're here. Like you said before, I understand why we're here, which it keeps me grounded to continue fighting for my people. Because there have been times that I really did feel like giving up, and I've been like, F it. So I understand why we're here. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit up here and continue to be disrespected, which is another thing I want to bring about Big Frida and Flame Monroe. Because it's coming back to me. It's coming back to me. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I like the fact that you brought up, not on this, but before. Well, you probably mentioned it before here too, but you brought up the fact that how different generations play a part. How back in their day, they're accustomed and used to and conditioned to being disrespected. But now, since it's our time and we're not going for it, now it's an issue. Now we're being too sensitive. Now we're being this. Now I'm being that. And then the thing is that they don't realize is that you realize that the people that's anti-queer, anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-melanated people, black people, they use your sentiments and weaponize it against the very community that you're a part of. Which is the reason why I live for when Hope got into Flame the way she did.
Yes.
Now, it was another thing that we talked about. What we talk about. And this is one of your trigger points. Women how women support their own oppression. That seems to be a big trigger for you. That's a huge trigger for you. So, okay, what are your sentiments dealing with women who support their own oppression and who don't recognize that they support their own oppression? What are your sentiments towards that?
But to go back to your earlier point, I agree. And that in those lives that we was talking about, Hope Giselle and the other one,
freedom.
you know, you can't. Truth exists simultaneously, and interest and intersectionality are about simultaneous facts that all intersect up and through one another. So I think my issue is with the semantics of first. There is no first. The truth exists all at once. All at once, I am male. All at once, I am black. All at once, I am queer. All at once, I am mystical. All of my truths and fundamental makeup, they all exist in one nucleus. So there is no first. It's just about being educated enough to recognize, to be aware of your intersections, and then to heal and justify and defend those intersections. There is no first though, because we are all doing it all at once. So like black women are being black and also standing up for their rights as black women, not just black, but on the nuance as women, because that's a whole separate experience within the black experience from black men's experience. So, and just like black men are doing that and black LGBT people are doing that, there's the black experience, the queer experience within the black experience, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So my issue is with the term first. There is no first. I think we should just encourage people to become self-aware, to acknowledge their intersections, to become aware of their intersections, and then to just operate accordingly to those intersections. Now, as it relates to your question about women who participate in their own oppression, I look at women as just being in the second place a lot of time. When I see those women who participate in toxic masculinity, they participate in homophobia and transphobia, not realizing that all of those things are an attack on the divine feminine. And that's why those things are that's why the LGBT community is oppressed and warred against under this current system, because many aspects of the LGBT spectrum are connected to the divine feminine. So, but I also understand how women have gotten to this place. I mean, like women, and that goes back to the earlier point that black men, women followed men. Black women followed black men. So whatever black men introduced into the culture is what black women worked with and worked alongside. And when black men brought into this toxic brand of masculinity, black women followed suit and they participated in that. And various tools were used to condition women psychologically to fall for the banana peel, to fall for the okie dokie, whether that was religiosity and women being brainwashed to believe that they are simply helpmates and simply here to be submissive and to execute the will of the head, which was the masculine principle in the household or in the marriage or in the community, aka men. And then once again, those ideologies turn into the respectability politics and the social norms that become our social dynamics. So now that kind of black men are nowhere to be found because black men are in a critical state of an identity crisis themselves, and black women kind of just wide open now. But that women have the opportunity to look at what has happened to them collectively. Black women have the opportunity to look at the damage and the injury that has been done by allowing patriarchy to take up all of the space. And I'm very proud of the Black women who are becoming lucid and who are waking up and who are fighting for equal space at the table, and who are telling patriarchy that you can't do this without matriarchy. You cannot have 53% of the population be female, and then as male take up all of the space in the culture, and then blame women for 100% of their problems, while you are aware that you're taking up all of the goddamn space. And that's what I mean by patriarchy. Males are going to have to repent for their sins because they dropped the ball. If patriarchy in the world, period, had respected the contributions intellectually, the contributions spiritually, the contributions in virtue that the feminine principle in this world provides, we would have never ever created nuclear bombs to begin with. We would have never created atomic bombs to begin with. The bombing of Hiroshima would have never taken place because it is men and masculinity that has created these devastating weapons of mass destruction. It is men, largely patriarchy, that has led the crusades across Europe that were responsible for the lives of hundreds of thousands of millions of innocent people. It was the patriarchy of religion that led wars and the genocide of communities and mass conversion. Those nice male-complected pirates that came over here on the Mayflower ship came in with Bibles in their hand and genocided the indigenous native people who were already present. Here it is, we have history upon history upon history about what masculinity looks like without its counterpart. And if patriarchy continues to attempt to take up that space, oh yeah, we are going to see an apocalypse of epic proportions. We're going to see starvation. We're going to see nations warring against nations, and either principle cannot exist without the other. They're literally meant to balance one another. But when you don't allow for balance and you only allow one principle to take up all of the space, you get imbalance, and in imbalance, you get a system that keeps collapsing and imploding upon itself over and over and over again, which is why American politics are not working, which is why capitalism is not working, which is why left wing and right wing are not working, because nothing is working together in harmony. So, women, now that men are scatterbrained and the age of Aquarius is assisting in the divine feminine ushering in, take full advantage to rise all the way up. Because the pendulum is going to have to swing to the right to correct all of the issues that exist to the left. But it's also not going to be able to be stuck to the right. We're going to have to allow the pendulum to swing. from left to right to create the necessary harmony.
Oh, Lord. It's funny to me because I'm about to end this soon because, girl, my phone about to die. Nah, but it was funny to me because I was actually preaching this to somebody that I know. And I felt like, and I could be wrong, but I felt like I really broke it down to ABC 1, 2, 3, 2 plus 2 equals 4. I thought I broke it down to its core, to its essence, to its main thesis. Like I thought I just broke it all the way down. And it seemed like it just was not sticking at all. And something that you said on that last panel really stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like you said it as in being a joke, or you was like said it, but I guess you didn't think it really meant much. Is that you said you're used to being misunderstood? That is irritating because, baby, when you start to talk about sensitive topics and you really start to really apply critical thinking, especially to like sensitive topics that people are so triggered by, so which means that they don't go no further with the critical thinking. Baby, that is one hard fight to try to fight. Yeah. When I tell you I want to go upside that that pitch head, when I tell you I want to go upside his head, so I was like, all right, now I explained this about 4 or 5 times.
It's a whole lot of heads, so you got to kind of be.
Oh no! It was somebody in my real life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cool, yeah. Because for some reason people love to try to have sensitive topics until they realize they're not the one that's right.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I think that what we got to see on that panel was how people talk about securing the bag, but people also like to secure the bubble that they live within.
Mm-hmm.
People are really attached to their perception, right, wrong, or indifferent. And most people have a fear about looking at things differently because there's a lot of other things connected to the way they see things. It's the social approval that's connected to maintaining stagnation. Well, my family and most of the community believe in Jesus. I have to too. And to not to is to put myself on the outs. So I'm not going to. Or to accept queer people is to put my own sexuality in question. So it's easier to go along to get along and to just act like I feel this way when I actually am okay with these people. Most people are going to do what gets them accepted. And most people are not going to rock the boat and really, as you said, critically think about things and come up with your own resolve, come up with your own conclusions, even if those conclusions are strange or they make you strange only relatively speaking. Like they're strange because they're just not what the general public is doing. But oftentimes those are the very things that are actually really right. It's the things that are the things that we've taken the time to actually conclude for ourselves and actually done the work to find the truth and come into the truth, whether it's a psychic truth or whether it's an academic truth. And yeah, it was funny watching people glitch up, all because I was challenging them to put to put their minds to challenge, to put their reality to challenge, and gave great examples of how powerful that can be. And even with the reward being so rewarding, that fear is real, and that attachment that people have to their paradigm is hilarious. And that's literally what is happening on a larger context when it comes to any systemic issue, which is all a systemic issue is a obstacle that the majority of people believe should exist, or a reality that most people believe should exist that impacts those who don't make up the majority.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay. Yeah. Since we're already in this conversation, we're going to talk about the panel, and then I'm going to end it. Because I was really sitting back Because, you know, after some time, I was like, girl, I'm not even going to even try to talk because they will hear me. I'm about to just have to get in where I fit in when I get the chance because they can't hear nothing I'm saying. I sat back and I really peeped a lot. I peeped a lot of stuff. A lot of people that said that they were there to learn. And by the way, I'm not just talking about that particular panel. I'm talking about your panels overall. Like, people sit there and say that they're here to learn, but yet they're taking over the conversation. People say that they're not homophobic, but yet they're quick to say alternative lifestyle. They're quick to say all different types of other things to try to other. People say a lot of things, and it's like in their head they really don't believe that they are. And so it really it's like putting my finger inside of a pencil sharpener because it's like you're doing the exact same thing that your oppressors do, but however, when it comes down to your oppressors, you don't seem to understand why they think like that, but yet you think like that. Which is I'm not trying to bring it up, but that's the reason why I said what I said on that panel to that young lady. Because yes, I felt like she was trying to deflect, but at the same time, I felt like she was trying to low-key prove a point at the same time. I don't understand how, maybe because I'm always around you, maybe because we kind of think similar, how you was explaining that situation and they couldn't get the more context of it. They couldn't get the main idea of it. And they were so stuck on the trans this, trans that, trans this. No, he's talking about a bigger scale, baby. He's not talking about just trans. It's bigger than just trans. No offense, but he's talking about finding yourself. But that right there lets you know you still got more work to do. All right, that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and it's a lot of learning, you know, and I don't think that you know, not having the right language necessarily makes somebody homophobic, because the language is limited in and of itself, and most people, and language is always evolving. So I do understand why it's hard for people to keep up with what the hell we're calling it these days, because there's new terminology being produced on a daily basis. I more so just look for, like, you can, when you speak to people and or you listen to them speak, you can discern who really loves people, even if they don't have the right language, even if they're not using the right terms, even if they're not using the right, like, I don't limit people to that. I know what love and compassion feel like and sound like, and I don't allow myself to be blinded by language per se. And there are obviously those who are definitely, who think that they are an ally to the community, who actually are not.
They had me cussing on them panels. I had to mute they had me cussing on the panels. I'm gonna be honest with you, I really don't know how you do it, how you have so much patience.
Growth and maturity and compassion. Like, you have to pray. Like I literally, getting into commentary and getting into teaching and knowing that I was going to have a relationship to the public, and I was going to be somebody who was going to contribute to the knowledge that people had about various things, I had to pray for patience and pray for compassion. And, you know, I think that the biggest way to really reinforce patience in yourself for others is by realizing that you didn't become enlightened overnight either. By realizing that you just didn't come out of the womb, you know, knowing all things. By acknowledging that we, as, you know, we individually also participated in a lot of things. Like, as a Black queer man, I did not believe for a very long time early on in my youth, when I was wrestling with my orientation, that I was morally correct, because I believed what the church had taught me. What the church had said was reinforced by what my family believed. It was reinforced by what my peers believe. And I didn't know any better. I didn't know that I was okay. I didn't know that I was wonderfully and beautifully and uniquely made. by the creator as I was. I did not have that education. I had issues with who I was, because that's what I was taught to do. So I empathize with heterosexual people because I understand. And if I'm able to hate myself or find reasons to hate myself, and if I'm able to have ignorances and I had to grow and undo and unpack and recondition, then I mean that heterosexual people have to do the same shit because they have no incentive to have challenged themselves unless it's because they are being challenged. And so I get it, you know? And I think that if we want to remember to be patient, that we have to remember that we also had to take a journey to love ourselves and to become better and to become more informed. And dealing with people who have privilege, which is a form of narcissism, is always difficult. You have to have a supernatural patience to deal with privileged people, because oftentimes privileged people are the ones who are going to fight the hardest for what they believe is the truth. And taking privilege away is like taking people's security blanket away, taking their safety away. So how I do it is by realizing that I'm dealing with human beings and not robots. I know that these things are not going to be resolved and be a one and done in one conversation. Yeah, sometimes you can get people who literally become enlightened all at once, all in one setting. But generally speaking, especially, you know, when we're talking about bettering society as a whole, you know, we just have to keep rotating classrooms. You know, it's a new set of first graders every goddamn term. It's a new set of first graders every year. And it's just about being called to teach. And not everybody is, which is why everybody, you know, don't have the patience. But also teaching requires maturity as well. And you develop that as you go along. You will get it. But once again, the biggest way to reinforce it is to remember that you also were just as ignorant as anybody else on the subject, and probably also hated yourself for the same reasons why they hated you, because that's what the book said. That's what truth was sold to us as. So, you know, yeah. And hey, Reading Rainbow.
Hey, Reading Rainbow. Okay, so my bad boys are like 6%. So what I'm gonna put this up real quick.
Somebody in the private chat. Oh no.
No.
I see it.
Yeah, so my thing's on 6%. So right before we get out of here, let the people know where they can find you, just in case this video comes across people who aren't subscribed to you.
Huh?
I said, yep, you give your outro, your outricks.
Well, if you can remove the caption so they can see my screen name.
Oh, I'm doing everything but the right thing.
And you had a little nip flip there.
It's my first day back, okay?
True, Janet Jackson.
It's my first day on the job.
How my name is spelled right here in you know, in the slot. You can find me right here on YouTube as Consciouztv, and that's Conscious with the Z. And you can find me on Instagram at Consciouztv, and or you can email me at consciouztv@gmail.com. I also have a Patreon where we drop exclusive conversations and things, which is also www.patreon.com/consciouztv. And I want to thank Reckless Logic for, first of all, you muted us both. You literally have no idea what you're doing, Reckless Logic. Now he has me up here by myself. Okay. Thank you, Reckless Logic, for having me and for putting some goddamn content up on this channel, because you really did leave YouTube hanging. So, glad to have you back.
It was a cuckoo over here, because girl, I'm over here touching stuff. So that's a sign I should get up out of here. Yes. Thank you guys so very much. Thank you, Conscious, for coming over here. Thank you. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little weird for me trying to work a panel. I haven't done this in a long time, but
you did great.
It's my first time back. So thank you guys so very much. I'm gonna get up out of here.
Good night.
Baby girl, what's your name? Oh, and also, you raggedy ass bitches. Wait, I forgot. Not trying to be like bingo. So sorry, I got to do this the YouTube way. Hello, guys. Everybody in the comments, everybody in the viewers. Please make sure you follow me. Please make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I forgot how I used to say it. Oh, hello, guys. My name is I'm about to say Consciouztv. My name is Reckless Logic. Please make sure you guys pop that like button, hit the subscribe button, and please, please, please smack the notification bell so do not miss any of my posts from me. Until next time, guys, I will see you guys later. Bye.